We're going to have a look at conditional operators. Java includes operators that only use Boolean values. These conditional operators help simplify complex Boolean relationships by reducing multiple Boolean values to a single value. For example, what if you want to run a code block, only if multiple conditions are true? We could use the AND operator, which is denoted like this, so a double ampersand. Or we want to run a code block if at least one of two conditions are true. In this case, we could use the OR operator, which is denoted by a double pipe, like so. Finally, we can produce the opposite value where true becomes false and false becomes true with a not operator, which is an exclamation mark that goes before the actual value. We'll explore each of these operators in this lesson to see how they clean up our conditional statements. If we have a look at the instructions, it says the text editor contains a reservation class we'll build in this lesson. Note the different conditional statements and operators that we're using to control the execution of the program. We have to, run the code and move to the next one whenever we're ready to the next lesson. So we have some text here that is the result of whatever happens in the main in our program. We go on to the next lesson and we have a look at the conditional operator and we said it's called and. Whenever we use it, we have to use capital letters and it's going to be denoted by a double ampersand. Let's return to our student enrollment program. We've added a conditional requirement. Not only must students have the prerequisites, but their tuition must be paid up as well. We have two conditions that must be true before we enroll the student. Here's one way we could write this code. So we have if the tuition is paid, and then if this is true, then we go to the second if and we check if the student has the prerequisites, okay? Then do something that's going to be inside here where we have the comments. And it says we've nested the two if statements. So whenever we have an if statement inside another one, it says it's called nested if statements. Okay. This does the job, but we can be more concise with the AND operator, because in the end these are two rules or let's call them rules. Two rules that need to be, or two conditions that need to be true in order for whatever is here to take place, okay, to run. So using the AND operator, we have an example here. We say if, and then we have the tuition paid, which this one is a variable, and whatever value of this variable, well, it needs to I need to mention that this variable needs to be of type Boolean, okay? So if this one has whatever value, either true or false, and we have then this other variable whose value is going to be either true or false, then you take this value, let's say this is true, and then this is true. If both are true, then the whole result is going to be true, and therefore we can run whatever is inside here. So we have if, and then if this evaluates to true, then we can run indeed whatever is inside, whatever block of code is going to be inside this if statement. The AND operator, which is either denoted like this, this is more likely in pseudocode, or like this, so double ampersand whenever we are actually writing code. So this is used between two Boolean values and evaluates to a single Boolean value. So this and this are Boolean values, and their result, okay, is gonna be a Boolean value as well, okay? If the values on both sides are true, so if the value on both sides of our sign here are true, then the resulting value is true. Otherwise, the resulting value is false. So say if this one and this one is true, then the whole expression is going to evaluate to true. If either of these are false, then the whole expression is going to evaluate to false, okay? At somewhere in this playlist or on the channel, I will also leave a link to a video that is going to explain the truth tables, which is exactly this. So the results of the and the or operators, okay, depending on their values. The AND operator is used between two Boolean values and evaluates to a single Boolean value. If the values on both sides are true, then the resulting value is true. Otherwise, the resulting value is false. This code illustrates every combination. So we have the case where both of the values are true, and we're going to get true. We have both of the, well, we have a case where one of the values is false and the other one is true, and then the result is false. We have another case where one of the values, so the first value is true and the second value is false, which is going to evaluate, is going to give us an answer of false as well. And then if we have both values false, then the value will be false as well. Now, if we have a look at the instructions, it says our reservation class has the method confirm reservation, which validates if a restaurant can accommodate a given reservation. We need to build the conditional logic into confirm reservation. So we need to build the code, the logic of this method using two parameters, restaurant capacity and is the restaurant open. Use an if then else statement. If the restaurant capacity is greater than or equal to guest count and the restaurant is open, print reservation confirmed. And set is confirmed to true. Else, print reservation denied and set is confirmed to false. Okay, let's have a look. So we need to go and have a look at the confirm reservation method, which is this one. Okay, and we have here the code, the comment that explains to us inside the code what we need to do. So we need to build the conditional logic into confirm reservation using two parameters. Okay, so confirm reservation, restaurant capacity, and is restaurant open. Use an if then else statement. If restaurant capacity is greater than or equal to guest count, so we have restaurant capacity and oh no, because this is void, so no, wait a second. Let's see. So we need to build a conditional logic into confirm reservation using two parameters. Let's see, because I'm not quite sure whether it needs the parameters here or it refers to these parameters. Well, the instance variables here. Okay, so if restaurant capacity, let's see. No, definitely, I think we have to use the parameters here. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna try without the without adding any parameters here, because we simply have them here and we don't really need them. So confirm reservation. Confirm reservation. Okay. So if restaurant capacity is greater than or equal to guest count, and so I think we have to put this already. This is an expression that needs to be evaluated on its own. And the restaurant is open. So is restaurant open? This is a Boolean as well. Then print. So we have to say system.out.print. We have to print reservation confirmed. Okay. And set is confirmed true. Okay, else we say reservation denied. Reservation denied. And we set is confirmed to false. Okay, let's try and run this and see what happens. Okay, looks like it's fine, so we don't have any errors. But I guess what was confusing a little bit is by using this wording here, by using two parameters. And I guess it was referring to using these values that we already know. So these are instance variables. But when I read them as parameters, it made me think that they might need to go as parameters for this method, which that was not the case. So we can move on to the next lesson. We are going to have a look at the conditional operator OR. Okay, and if used in pseudocode, it needs to be in capital letters, so OR in capital letters. And whenever we code, we have to use the double pipe sign. Okay. The requirements of our enrollment program have changed again. Certain courses have prerequisites that are satisfied by multiple courses. As long as students have taken at least one prerequisite, they should be allowed to enroll. Here's one way we could write the code. So if has algebra prerequisite, then enroll in the course. And then if has geometry prerequisite, enroll in the course. We're using two different if-then statements with the same code block. We can be more concise with the OR operator. If has algebra prerequisite or has geometry prerequisite, enroll in the course. Okay, because you see the code here would have been the same. So if it has this, do this code. If it has this, do this code. Okay, so if either of these blocks will evaluate to true, then this code, which supposedly should be the same code, will run. Okay, but to be a bit more concise, we can use the OR operator, which is are these two bars. Okay, and it goes like this. So we know the if, or excuse me, we know the if already, and we have two Boolean values, so this one and this one. And it says like this: the OR operator, so this double pipe, is used between two Boolean values and evaluates to a single Boolean value. So this is the OR operator. These are two Boolean values, and this whole expression will evaluate to one single Boolean value. If either of the two values is true, then the resulting value is true. Otherwise, the resulting value is false. So if either this one or this one is true, so either of them, then the whole expression is going to evaluate to true. If both of them are true, then of course it will still evaluate to true, because at least one is true, okay? We have a bit of code that illustrates the combination here. So we have, if we have true or true, it's going to give us true. If we have false or true, it's going to give us true still. If we have true or false, it's still going to give us true. Why? Because, well, we already have one value that is true. And then if we have false or false, of course it's going to evaluate to false, because none of these values that we are comparing, I guess, that we are using this conditional operator with, none of them is true in order for the result to be true, okay? Now, if we have a look at the instructions, it says, let's write a message inside the reservation method. Oh, and this is a constructor that warns against bad input. Our restaurants can't seat parties of more than 8 people, and we don't want reservations for 0 or less, because that would be silly. Inside the reservation, write a conditional that uses the OR operator, okay? If count is less than 1 or greater than 8, we want to write the following message: invalid reservation, okay? So we need to go to the reservation here. This is our constructor, and we have to make use of the OR operator. And it says if count, so if count is less than 1 or count is greater than 8, okay, and we have to separate these in their own little brackets, well, in their own little parentheses, just so we know that this one gets evaluated first, and then this one gets evaluated first, and then the comparison OR, so the OR operator, is going to apply between the result of this and result of this, okay? Because otherwise, if we won't have these parentheses, our program might as well compare 1 or count, okay, which might result in some sort of an error, okay? But by having these parentheses, we're making sure that our program does precisely and exactly what we want, okay? So if this would be the case, if count is less than 1 or count is greater than 8, we want to print this message: invalid reservation. So we use the system.out.println, and it goes in double quotes, and the text inside is invalid reservation. Let's run it, and we don't have any errors, therefore our code is perfectly fine. We're going to move on to the next lesson. The logical operator not, or this is used in pseudocode, or otherwise whenever we actually code, we use the exclamation mark. The unary operator, so it's also called a unary operator not, which is denoted by an exclamation mark, works on a single value. This operator evaluates to the opposite Boolean to which it's applied. So for example, if we have the Boolean value false, and then we put the not operator in front of it with the exclamation mark, this whole thing is going to evaluate to true. Now, if we have a Boolean value of true and we put the not operator in front of it, this whole thing is going to evaluate to false, okay? Because essentially we deny, or we say this value but the opposite of it. So we have this value, but by applying the logical operator not, then we get the opposite of that value. Not is useful for expressing our intent clearly in programs. So for example, sometimes we need the opposite behavior of an if-then run a code block only if the condition is false. Okay. So we have here an example of a Boolean variable whose value is false, and we say if has prerequisite, do nothing, else do this. Okay, so if it has prerequisite, then don't do nothing. If it doesn't have, so if this is false, then you have to, well, it says, well, print this message on the screen. This code does what we want, but it's a bit strange to have a code block that does nothing. Okay. The logical not operator cleans up our example. So we have the same Boolean variable has prerequisite, which is false. If has prerequisite, so if it does not have prerequisite, yeah, or if the value of the, essentially we have to look at the value of has prerequisite. What is the value? The initial value is false, and it says if this is not false, so not false becomes true, yeah, then print out this. So if we were to run this code, it will print out on the screen this message, must complete prerequisite course. Okay. So we have a look at the value of this variable, which is false, and not false is true. So this whole thing, this whole expression here evaluates to true, because not false evaluates to true. And then we have the keyword if, and here in parentheses we will have true. We will, whatever this is, evaluates to true in our case here. So if and this is true, then of course it's gonna run this code, because the condition that we have here in the parentheses is true indeed. We can write a succinct conditional statement without an empty code block. Now, if we have a look at the instructions, it says let's make inform user more informative. If their reservation is not confirmed, they should know. Write an if then else statement and use the not operator with is confirmed as the condition. If their reservation is not confirmed, write unable to confirm reservation, please contact the restaurant. Else, write please enjoy your meal. So we have to go to inform user method, which, let's find it, is here. So inform user. Okay. And it says write an if then else statement and use the not the not operator with is confirmed as the condition. So we have to do it like so. If what is it? Is confirmed. So if it's not confirmed, okay, then we have to print out on the screen something. System.out.println, and we have to print this text. Of course, we have to put the double quotes. Okay, and then else we have to print something else, which is please enjoy your meal. Okay, so in quotes we have to say that. I just need to make sure we have the correct spelling here. So system.out.println. Let's run this code, and we don't have any errors. So let's run quickly again through this code. It says write an if then else statement and use the not operator with the is confirmed as the condition. Is confirmed is an instance variable here, okay? We know that whenever we are creating an object of this class, so an instance of this, well, an object of this class, okay? We have to, if we have a look at the constructor, we have to pass it some parameters here. Is confirmed is confirmed. Let's see, is confirmed. Is confirmed is set to is so at the moment we don't have any value here, and even in the constructor, none of these parameters that we're passing here are this, okay, is confirmed. However, is confirmed at one point gets its value from the confirm reservation, okay, and the confirm reservation is done here. Okay, so confirm reservation, it gets its value, and then we say if is not confirmed, okay, then print unable to confirm reservation. If this evaluates to false, then go to the else block and run whatever is in that else block. Now let's move on to the next lesson. And we have the review lesson, and it says conditional operators work on Boolean values to simplify our code. They're often combined with conditional statements to consolidate the branching logic. Conditional AND, which is the double ampersand, evaluates to true if the Booleans on both sides are true. If true and false, you won't see me print. Well, why? Because in order for, when we have the AND operator, in order for this to evaluate to true, we have to have both sides as true, okay? Now, it moves on to this block. It says else if true and true, you will see me print. Well, why? Because this one evaluated to false, therefore it jumps onto the next else if, and then it checks this value, and it says true and true. Well, this whole thing is gonna evaluate to true. Why? Because both values on either side of the AND operator are true. Therefore, this whole expression is gonna be true. So this code is gonna run. The conditional OR, which is denoted by this double pipe, evaluates to true if one or both of the booleans on either side is true. If we have a look at the example, it says if we have a false and a false, this is not gonna print. Well, why? Because none of them on either side of the OR operator is true. Therefore, this is not gonna run. Then it runs on to the next else if condition and it checks it. False or true. Well, this whole thing is going to evaluate to true. Why? Because the OR operator has on at least one side the true value, okay? And then this is the code that's going to run. The logical NOT, or the exclamation mark in front of the value, evaluates to the opposite Boolean value to which is applied. So if we have this value of false and then we put this exclamation mark in front of it, we read it not false. And what is not false? Of course, this whole thing evaluates to true. Not false is true. And then if true, because this is now true, this is what it evaluates true to, then this one runs, okay? If we have a look at the instructions, it says please, it says the complete reservation class is in the code editor. Play around inside main and see if you can create instances that will run every possible conditional branch. Let's create a few instances here. So to create an instance of this class, we're gonna say reservation, okay? Because that is gonna be the type of the object. So we have reservation, and we're gonna call it R1, so reservation, or let's say res1, like reservation 1, equals to, let's have a look at the constructor. How can we, or how is the way in which we have to create these objects? So we give it, we have to give it an int, a capacity, so an int, and a boolean. Let's say, so count, say we have, we want a number of 12 people, so that will be the count, okay? The count, so this is how many people we have. This is how many people the restaurant can accommodate. And is the restaurant open? Okay, let's say yes, it is open. So it is true, okay? True. Now, if we want to run some of the available methods on our object, let's say if we want to confirm the reservation on our first booking, I guess. We're gonna run it. What does it say? We have to have some what does it say here? So on line 36, reservation res1 equals to, oh well, of course, a very major mistake. We have to use the new keyword, new reservation. Okay, so totally forgot about that. Gonna run it now. There you go. So we have invalid reservation denied. Well, why are we getting invalid reservation and reservation denied? Well, because if we have a look at the constructor here, so we get invalid reservation. So this line we're getting exactly here when we're creating our object, okay? And why? Well, because we are trying to do so the count, which is this one, yeah, which is this one in our case, is greater than 8. And if it's greater than 8, because this is the maximum that our reservation can be, then it says invalid reservation, okay? So we're getting invalid reservation from this line, so line 36, because we are trying to bring more people than 8, okay? Let's say we want 7. Now this line, at least this line, should not be showing up. But before I do that, let's see, why did we get reservation denied as well? Reservation denied, well, because if we're trying to confirm the reservation, it says the restaurant capacity. So we said the restaurant capacity to be 10 here. So initially we had, how many did we have here? 12, okay. So we said the capacity to be 10, okay. So reservation denied. If we have the restaurant capacity that is smaller or equal to the guest count, okay. So is the restaurant capacity smaller or equal to the guest count? So we have restaurant capacity smaller or equal to our guest count. So we have a capacity of 10 and we're trying to add 12 people. And this is going to evaluate to false, okay? And if we have false and is restaurant open, if we are checking false and true, well, this whole thing is going to give us false. Why? Well, because we have false and true, and we know that in order for this to evaluate to true, both of the operators should be true, okay? Now, Therefore, because this evaluates to false, then it's gonna jump onto the else here and it's gonna say reservation denied. Okay. Now let's try and see maybe 10 and 10. Okay, let's run it like this. Invalid reservation, let's say 7. Okay. Reservation confirmed. Well, why? Well, because we have here, we're trying to add 7 guests. Okay. The capacity, we set it to 10, and therefore it's not going to be, it's not going to be a problem. So we have a capacity of 10. We're trying to add 7 guests, and 7 guests we know is within our limits here, because we set a limit of maximum 8 people. Okay, and the restaurant is open. Okay, so we should have reservation confirmed. However, let's try and put reservation, let's try and put is restaurant open. Let's try and put it false, so the restaurant is not open. Let's run it. It should say reservation denied. Well, why? Because the restaurant is closed at the moment. Okay, so this is just an example of how we can go about and just playing around with this example. So with the example of creating an object from the reservation class. Okay.